Open a granite sarcophagus in a museum and you are re-looking at a complete engineering chain from Aswan is hard stone to a sealed coffin in a tomb niche. The question isn't, could they cut granite, but how did they control every stage so the lid and box meet true? We can read the process straight off the material record. Quarry trenches, Dolerite pecking pits, long saw striations, tube drill grooves, abrasive residues, red layout lines, and polishing arcs that catch the light. That evidence, plus experimental archaeology, explains how granite sarcophagi were made without exotic tools. Start at the Aswan quarries, where granite sits in benches and domes. Extraction begins with Dolerite pounders, dense, handheld stones used to peck channels that outline a block and begin the undercut. The quarry floors still show shallow scooped cups and gutters where thousands of blows advanced a trench. Broken pounders lie in dumps. Their distribution maps crew strategies and tool lifetimes. In some spots, the stone bears scorch patterns, suggesting heat helped open microfractures before pecking resumed. Organization appears in the margins as well. Red marks, tallies, and crew signs, showing this was scheduled work, not improvisation. Before logistics, reduce mass. Quarry teams rough squared faces, knocked down corners, and when safe, began the interior cavity at the source so less dead weight went on a sledge. This pre-shaping step explains why some unfinished pieces already show interior recesses while still far from polish. It's the fastest way to turn unmovable block into manageable cargo. Shaping trades metal for sand. Copper alone can't cut granite. Quartz abrasive does. Think of the metal as a carrier that traps sharp grains in a wet slurry and pushes them through the stone. That's why we find straight parallel saw striations on coffin flanks and concentric tool marks where tube drills worked. The cutting edge is silica. The copper only delivers and guides it. Two interior strategies repeat across granite sarcophagi. One is peck and grind, break high spots with Dolerite, then run long passes with rubbers and straight edges charged with sand until planes read true under raking light. The other is drill, break, and dress. Set rows of tube-drilled holes with a copper tube and abrasive, snap out the cores, break the webs between holes, then grind flat. Both leave readable ghosts, circular grooves and truncated cones for drilled fields, straight striations for sawed faces. Corners were tuned after bulk removal. Many interiors keep a slight inside radius where grinders couldn't chase a perfect angle without risking chips. Outside, faces run a similar sequence. Saw near finish, grind to plane, protect arrises. Lids often carry a rebate or lip that keys into the box, so alignment is positive and any sealing film can be thin and continuous. Workshop crews set reference geometry early, the box rim and lid underside, then built everything else to that standard. If contact zones seat true, the lid won't rock, edges won't chip under weight, sealants will spread evenly. Finish is a separate craft. After grinding, teams rubbed faces with harder stones and progressively finer abrasives until the granite took a soft, directional sheen. Those last strokes often run in broad arcs or cross hatches. Tilt a surface to the light and you can map where hands stood and how they moved the rubbers. Where polish thins, you feel the transition from matte ground to truly dressed. Where it survives, light skates across crisp edges the craftsman protected through every handling step. None of this matters if the piece can't travel. From the quarry, blocks moved on wooden sledges over prepared tracks to the Nile. Transport scenes show large crews hauling while a worker pours water ahead of the runners. That splash is practical physics. Just enough moisture stiffens sand, stops a bulldozing ridge forming in front of the sledge, and cuts drag so the same crew moves more weight with fewer stalls. At the river, barges carried granite north during favorable levels. Quarry landscapes preserve ramps and jetties linking extraction floors to loading points. At the destination, sledge again. Up ramps, along causeways into valley roads. Then levers and cribbing to set the box on supports for fitting. Fitting the lid is precision work. Craftsmen kept testing lid-to-box contact, easing high spots and protecting arrises until the seat read uniform. Thin films of resin or gypsum plaster could seal the interface. Either way, the aim was full contact with minimal rocking. In niche installations, final truing often happened in place. Check the chamber floor, adjust the rebate, and give a last polish to visible belts a lamp would catch. Inscription and exterior form finished late, so a slip-on decoration didn't to ruin seating geometry built up over weeks. Tool choice tracks the task and leaves distinct textures. Dense fields of shallow pits mean Dolerite pounding. Straight, parallel lines mean long, abrasive sawing. Circular grooves and truncated cores mean tube drilling. A satiny directioned gloss means fine grinding and polish. Learn those 4 signatures, and any granite sarcophagus starts reading like a work log. What was cut first, where crews hit hardest, how the geometry was held. Rates are slow by modern standards, but steady. Experiments with replica copper tools and sharp quartz sand remove measurable granite per hour. Scale with wider blades, fresh grit, and patient labor, and the schedule becomes plausible without ultra-hard blades. Crucially, the record preserves failures too. Abandoned boxes cracked during hollowing, lids snapped across hidden flaws, trenches stopped when seams opened. Those near misses are strong evidence that the process was material-limited and human-scaled, rather than driven by hypothetical super tools. Granite sarcophagi also sit inside a bigger system. Aswan supplied the hard stone. Nile logistics moved bulk efficiently. Controlled workshops near necropolis zones trued and finished. Architects designed door widths, ramps, and niches around real weights. In tomb architecture, granite boxes often pair with softer stone chambers. The granite takes wear and supports the body, while limestone or sandstone carries carved and painted programs. This pairing balances craft time with ritual goals, durable container and decorated room. Look closely and logistics meet ritual. A sarcophagus wasn't just a container, it had to read as complete and clean under lamplight. Shine signaled completion. Matte scars often mark rework or post-burial abrasion. The rebate that locks lid to box is practical security and ceremonial integrity. No rattle, no leak, no loss of form. Where you see layout lines in red on hidden faces, you're glimpsing measurement culture, sighted lines, chords, offsets, right-angle checks, capable of holding squareness across big planes without modern squares. Common claims fall away under this evidence. Copper can't cut granite is a category error. Quartz sand is the cutter. Copper is the carrier. Only unknown machines could drill granite ignores tube drill grooves and discarded cores that match experiments with sand-charged copper tubes. Hauling was impossible on dry desert, misses the physics of wetted sand and the hauling iconography that shows exactly that trick. Tool marks are random, misreads a library, pounding for detaching, sawing for planes, drilling for bulk removal, grinding for geometry, polishing for finish. If your focus is how granite sarcophagi were made, track the chain, not a single miracle. Mark and isolate the block at Aswan with Dolerite. Pre-shape to drop weight. Sledge to the river. Barge north on the Nile. Saw, drill, and grind with abrasive sand. The metal only guides the grit. Polish to a soft sheen. Move into the chamber. Fit the lid to a true seat. Seal the interface. Prestige comes from labor, logistics, and oversight. Visible today in pounder dumps, quarry ramps, ring-drilled cores, long saw lines, red layout ink, and faces finished until they reflect. For filming or sight reading, use a simple field checklist. Pitting, Dolerite pecking. Lines. Straight edge sawing. Rings. Tube drilling. Gloss. Fine grinding and polish. Map where each texture sits and the sequence they overlap. The sarcophagus will tell you the order of operations. That is stoneworking you can verify with your own eyes, and that is why the Aswan to Tomb chain still teaches granite craft step by step. If this calm, evidence-first walkthrough helped, stay with the channel. We'll build a visual toolmark guide next, so you can tag pounding, sawing, and tube drilling on any granite coffin at a glance.